Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward. What's up guys, Altcoin Sherpa here with a crypto market review. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not an expert, do your own research. Today, let's just go into BTC USD on the daily. Not really a whole lot, honestly. Price is chopping around and in a massive compression. I haven't seen price really do anything significant for weeks now, and really it's going to be almost an entire month before price has really done anything. I mean, price is relatively close to where it was really, almost 2 months ago. And you can see a lot of volume being transacted within this area. Not quite as much as the 19K area, where price tapped that floor all the way from June all the way to October, November. With that said, you can start to see a lot of volume being transacted at the EQ of this current range, right around the 16K area. That's pretty common, if I'm being honest with you. You generally see a range form after a big dump, and highs and lows being established from that point, and then the EQ price trading within the middle of the range. So for example, what's a good okay, so no, that's a bad example. Okay, so what am I trying to get at right now? I'm basically talking about price having these big moves down, and then creating the range early on with one of these early candles after the dump, and then that creates the highs and the lows, and then price will generally trade in the middle. So I did a video on this before a few days ago, weeks ago, I'm not exactly sure. You'll generally see price consolidate, dump, lots of volatility right after the dump, and then the highs and the lows are established at that point. You'll see deviations below, and you'll also see deviations above, but generally speaking, price will trade right at the middle of that range, aka the EQ of it. So that's kind of what we're seeing right now. Is we're seeing that price is currently, as I said, had this big dump back in November. This is the FTX scandal, followed by a candle that was a few candles. It established the low on November 9th, wicked up, and since that time it has formed this range. If you look at the EMAs, they're all starting to get a little bit closer to price, but they're still nowhere close to any sort of consolidation on the 1 day. This is going to take quite a long time before this 200-day EMA actually catches up with price. It would take several more months, in my opinion, or weeks, where you see basically price just continue to chop around, and then the EMA would come back down. This is the 200 EMA, the red line, and I think that's always the important one to look at, in my opinion. It has a really good indicator in terms of overall big macro moves on higher time frames. So let's take a look at BTC on the 4 hour. As I said before, lots of volume transacted within this current area. Price is trading at that EQ, and you can see lots of the EMAs compressing on the 4 hour. We haven't really seen this a whole lot, and this 200 EMA has acted as resistance in the past recently, where you saw this back in early December. Price chopped up, rose above it, then broke down, but we're seeing lots and lots of compression with the EMAs, and you can see that when the lagging EMAs are very close to the leading ones, meaning the blue, red, and the blue, and green lines. These are the faster EMAs, the 2550 and the 89. These are all acting as support. Red one is acting as resistance, and everything is clumping together. This usually means lots of consolidation and that a quote-unquote big move is coming. Where that move is, nobody really knows, if I'm being honest. I think crypto is it's always been the S&P's bitch for the last several months, and this is probably no different. There is potentially scenario where Bitcoin goes up and then like comes up to the range highs around 18K. Again, there's also another possibility that it goes down to the range lows around 15.5K or so. Both scenarios are really very possible, and I think it's just important to note that trading around the EQ is generally a scary proposition, just because there is no clear trend, in my opinion, on the lower time frames, and it's really hard to dictate or see where this is going in terms of swing trading. Scalpers, yeah, sure, I'm sure they're having a great time, but price is moving within like a 2% range. This entire bet, like, you're trading tiny 2% rotations, and it can get really scary in general, and it's very choppy right now. So what I'm trying to say is that overall, not really much of a trend on the lower time frame charts. In my opinion, I do believe that the short-term bottom is in. Like, sure, we could go to 15.5K, but overall macro bottom, probably unlikely. I wouldn't be surprised to see 14K, 12K, and 10K. Those are my levels that I'm looking at on higher time frames. There are going to be some analysts that say this is the bottom. They say it so confidently, but I think that any true trader really is uncertain, and it's really best to stay fluid with your ideas and not be so stuck on ideas. So yeah, I personally believe the short-term bottom is in. I wouldn't be surprised if we see another move up to the range high, and possibly even higher, fill out this inefficient move. Maybe we go up to even 20K. That would be a very nice move overall, but ultimately still not a full-time reversal. A full-time reversal, I think that 2023 is mostly going to be lots of chop. I expect it to actually act similarly to 2019. So what I mean by 2019 is just 2019 was just a lot of chop. Let's just take a look really quick at 2019. 2019 did have this massive move from 3K to 14K, and that was a really awesome one. I remember trading this, and I was thinking, 6K is going to be a huge resistance area, right? From 3K to 6K, price is going to dive down. In fact, price accumulated for so long, for several months after dumping so much, that 6K really wasn't much of a resistance area. Wasn't much of a deterrent for continuing, for price continuing. So as I said, 3K to 14K, and then price dumped. I remember a slow grind down, and this is kind of what I'm expecting. I wouldn't be surprised for price to have some sort of big move rally. Maybe it goes up to, like, who knows, even like 25, 30K, certainly possible. And then like we just see a lot more chopping around. Anyway, a range from pretty much 30K to 15K would not surprise me at all, or even lower, potentially, 30K to, I don't know, 14K, whatever you want to call it. Wouldn't surprise me at all to see something like this. Really going to depend a lot on the macro environment, but if price does go up in the shorter term to 18K or so, then I do believe that altcoins will have another short run. Briefly, let's just take a look at Bitcoin dominance. I do have a video on Bitcoin dominance, so you check it out. Bitcoin dominance. What is Bitcoin dominance? Bitcoin dominance is a chart that represents Bitcoin's total share of the crypto market cap. So if the crypto market cap is, say, call it $1 billion, and Bitcoin's market cap is $500 million, then that would comprise of 50% of the total market cap. Generally speaking, if you want altcoins to do well, you want the Bitcoin dominance chart to go down. And if you're a Bitcoin maxi, meaning that you hold a lot of Bitcoin and you want Bitcoin to go up, generally speaking, you'll want the Bitcoin dominance chart to go up. So when you talk about recovery times overall, and when you talk about overall macro bottoms, generally speaking, you'll want to see Bitcoin dominance trend upwards. So for example, when Bitcoin really started to moon hard, starting in 2020, I remember it consolidated all throughout the summer of 2020. We had a mini alt season, and then altcoins went into a long accumulation period in the fall of 2020. Bitcoin dominance went down at that point during the altcoin run in the summer, and then it went much higher again in the fall and winter, and then we had a massive alt season in 2021, where alts went apeshit. Bitcoin dominance went way down, down to levels we haven't seen since 2017, like the greatest alt season of all time. And this was an amazing time, from January to May of 2021. Now, since that time, we've seen Bitcoin dominance chop around, where it's had kind of equal highs and equal lows. It's important to note, and it's interesting to note too, in my opinion, that Bitcoin dominance has gone down at least once during Q4 or Q1 the following year, every single year since 2017. So 2017, greatest alt season of all time, December to January. Once again, in the bear market, we saw Bitcoin dominance go down again from pretty much December to March, where Bitcoin dominance went down. That meant that altcoins did pretty well, and this is even in the bear market. So December 2018, going into 19. Once again, from kind of this December 19th to January 20th. Once again, Bitcoin dominance did go down, and it actually kept going down. This was just like kind of the mini run that it had from December to February. Bitcoin dominance did rise back up again in May, and then dumped further more in May, June, July, and August, meaning that altcoins did do well. As I said, altcoins had a great summer in 2020. This was they were all starting to recover. This was DeFi summer, et cetera, et cetera. And then once again, in the January time period of 2021, we had a massively good alt season all the way from January to May. Alts were flying. Then I remember we had that big correction from 60K to like 35 or 40K or something like that. And then since then, prices really chopped around. Even when Bitcoin hit all-time high levels in October of 2021, Bitcoin dominance didn't really rise as significantly as it has in the past. But as I said, just very choppy. So what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say that Bitcoin dominance has gone down every single year for a large time period since 2017. With that, so for example, like if I were to look at it like this, I would expect it to go down, not significantly, nothing similar to like years past where 2017 or anything like that, 2021. I wouldn't expect anything like that. However, if we did see something like this slight move down, 8% or so down to the range lows, around 39%, it would somewhat mimic this. It would mimic some of this other kind of other moves back in 2019 or perhaps 2020. It would be smaller than that, and that's a reflection just of the total altcoin market. The altcoin market is still it's still relatively high relative to Bitcoin, to where it was back in say 2018, 2019. But if we do see something like this, then I expect altcoins will have a little mini run for about a few weeks, but ultimately I do expect Bitcoin dominance to rise. So maybe we see something like this goes down, and then we see Bitcoin dominance really start to take off, and Bitcoin and Ethereum, I believe, will take much more market share. Maybe not back up to the 70% level like where it was, but I wouldn't be surprised at all to see something like this where, we come back up and then we go into the 60% again. Certainly possible. And if that happens, then I expect many altcoins to underperform Bitcoin and Ethereum. All BTC pairs should have further pain for the most part. And there will be a few select altcoins. There will be some narratives. There will be some opportunities where there's a few weeks where altcoins do pretty well. But overall, I believe that the altcoin market will underperform Bitcoin in 2023. Anyways, that's just a little bit on Bitcoin dominance. And if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for your support.